Hey friends, welcome to the channel. If you already tried to learn a language but failed at it and want to make it better the next time, you found the right video. Los geht's! My name is Dustin. I'm an IT project manager from Germany. On this channel we create content that helps us to be more productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. We are well into the year now, and for most people their New Year's resolutions have already been abandoned. Every year it's the same. We set goals for what we want to achieve, but they often turn out to be just wishful thinking. This is especially true for language learning. And I've experienced it myself. Today I want to explore the reasons behind this and how to improve our chances of success. But before we start, you know what comes next, a nice sip of coffee. Los geht's. Why do we fail? The answer starts with understanding why we want to learn a language in the first place. Knowing your reasons and motivations is crucial, so begin with why. For example, if your aim is to learn Turkish to shock natives when ordering baklava in a Turkish bakery, then you have a clear and motivating reason to strive for. Or if you really like reading novels and you look forward to reading some literary masterpieces in Spanish, like Cien Años de Soledad or Don Quixote. Or you fell in love with someone from a different country and want to surprise him or her. Whatever it is, should be truly meaningful to you. But unfortunately, that's not enough. Many have even a strong why, but still aren't successful. Besides of not having a strong why, it's because you need to make learning part of your life. You need to have the right routines and habits to be able to follow through with it in the long run. And this of course applies to all areas of life. So no matter what you do, ask yourself if you can do it in a sustainable way for the rest of your life, or at least for a longer period of time. When learning a language, consistency is key and clearly trumps talent. That's why I like language learning that much. It's not about how clever you are, but about how much time you spend with the language to give your brain the opportunity to pick it up. And it will. The problem is that it really takes that long, depending of course on the language you're learning and the languages you know already. And in this context I often hear, yeah, but children learn way faster and I'm too old for this. But no, kids don't really learn faster. They just spend more time with the language, are fearless and never actually doubt that they can learn their mother tongue. Being an adult, you actually don't need as much time as a child because you know already a language and you can use that to your advantage. And from my experience, that also trumps a younger brain that is still more flexible and thus can maybe learn certain parts of the language easier. In summary, the reason why we fail to learn a language is that we don't consistently dedicate time to it every day over a long period. So how to do better? As mentioned earlier, of course you should have a strong why, which I would describe as a vision. An emotional picture that is meaningful to you, where you can see yourself doing something specific with the language. Besides of that, you should have the right goals. There are the ones that focus on an outcome, and then there are the ones that focus rather on the process. Both are valuable. Let me give you an example. Let's say I want to be able to read and also listen to the audiobook version of Cien Años de Soledad in Spanish. That's a very clear goal, but it's a big book and it will take a while to work my way through it. So how can I get there? If I set myself the goal of reading every evening 10 pages or maybe one chapter or whatever, then I will finish the book at some point. And this is a process goal. So the outcome goal describes what you want to achieve, and the process goal describes the how, or in other words, the way to get to the outcome, the habit. And then of course the goals should have the right difficulty for your level. You don't start with reading such a complex classic, but rather start with easier dialogues and stories and then gradually increase the difficulty. The nice thing is that the process goal could stay the same, like reading every evening, just adapting what you read with advancing in the language you learn. One thing I also like to track is the time I spend with the language, because it gives a nice indication of my progress and what I can expect to be able to do at what point. Because it can feel like there is no progress at all, even if indeed it's just very slow. This accentuates, especially if the language you are learning is a difficult one, or in other words, a language that's very different from the languages you know already. Coming back to the process goals, those are basically goals to establish a habit or routine to learn on a daily basis. When you don't have to debate internally that you have to do something, then it'll be way easier to do it over and over again. And super important also is that you should make it a habit in a way that is not draining. So make the learning a pleasant activity. Life is too short to suffer each day. And yes, there are times where it's necessary to fight your way through, but the majority of all learning activities can be pleasant if done correctly. And this is not optional. If what you do is interesting and motivating to you, then it'll also stick better. So if you're into crime series, for example, then you should probably watch crime series in your target language, once you've got the appropriate level, of course. Or if you like reading comics, great, do it in your target language, or video games, or whatever. You know what I mean. And then last but not least, as mentioned earlier, to spend lots of time with the language can only be achieved if you do something each day. For that, walk mentally through your regular day and identify slots that you can use for learning. And I'm not only talking about sitting down on a desk and studying the language, but also the times where you could potentially do maybe some listening activities. Like for example, when commuting to work, doing chores in the household, or when you go out for a run. Every minute counts and adds up in the long run. In order to learn a language successfully, we need to start with knowing why we actually want to do it. There should be an emotional connection. Next, we identify goals that describe the outcome of what we want to be able to do, as well as the process goals that enable us to achieve that goal by putting in the work each and every day. We identify pockets of time throughout our regular days that we can use for that and track the time we spend with the language. And then we follow through with it. And the feeling of being able to use a different language, to do whatever we aspire to do, and to have stick to our own plan will motivate us to do other great things in life. This is just the beginning. If you have any other tips, tricks, or errors to avoid when it comes to learning a language, let us know in the comments. And if you want to know how I would approach the goal of reading a full-blown novel in a foreign language, have also a look at this video here. Also make sure to leave me a like and a subscription to the channel, and to not miss anything going forward, click also on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and see you the next time.